Hello everyone, welcome to the Whistling Hermit's One Card Spread series. Note that this video is divided into three parts. A short introduction, which we are doing right now. Part 1, which is a descriptive study of the card for the day. And Part 2, which is a reading from the Handbook of the Tarot of A.E. Waite from AGM Urania. If you want to navigate directly to any of the three parts mentioned, just click on their respective links at the timestamp provided in the description of this video. This video series is primarily intended for learning how to read the tarot. However, you can also use this as a card reading for the day. This is a timeless reading, so if you are watching this now, its message might be for you. In this series, we will be using the Giant Rider Waite Tarot deck. We will also be using the Handbook of the Tarot of A.E. Waite from AGM Urania. The first part of the video will be a descriptive study of a specific card in the tarot. We will describe what we see and the insights and feelings we gather from what we see. Now, the first part is characterized by spontaneity. We allow the cards to speak to us regardless of the generally accepted meaning of the card. By doing this, we hope to increase our intuitive capacity for reading the tarot cards. In the second part, we will be reading the description of the card taken from the booklet of the Tarot of A.E. Waite by AGM Urania. If you intend to use this as a timeless reading, you can randomly choose any card in the series that resonates with you. An alternative approach is to shuffle a Rider Waite Tarot deck and pick a card randomly. You can then choose the card in the video series that corresponds to the card you picked. Note that this series is a work in progress and it might take some time for the 78 cards to be completely read. So, without any further delay, let us proceed to the card for the day. Welcome to our one card spread series, and our card for today is the Page of Swords. Of all the pages in the suits of the tarot, it seems like the Page of Swords is the one that is more inclined for battle. When you look at the Page of Wands, this one prefers more fashion, prefers more maybe the court life. The other one is more into contemplation, the Page of Cups. He prefers more mystery, the mystical, the magical. He prefers that one. The other one is more of he's concentrated with the pentacles, maybe concentrated with earning, concentrated with gaining properties and whatever like that. No, so they have different occupations. This one is more interested with battle, and they said that the sword represents also the intellect. So this one is more of maybe into debates, more into discussions, more into acquiring knowledge, and this is just beginning. The person is just beginning to have this interest for battle. He's still a little bit reticent in comparison to an older version of him, which is the knight. You can see this knight is the one who's really with great energy towards battle, really rushes into things, and when you look at the queen also is able to really wield the sword very well. When you look at it, you look at the way he holds the sword, both the knight, the queen, and the king all of them hold the sword with confidence. This one is a little bit moving backwards, as if there's a hesitancy in the wielding of the sword. And when you look at the way he holds the sword, it's not as firm as the rest. When you look at the knight, he holds the sword only with his one hand, but it's really firm. This one is holding it already with two hands, but the way he holds it, it's as if when you hit the sword, he might drop the sword. The queen also, look, she holds it with one hand, but the way she holds it very firm. The same with the king, he holds the swords very firm. So when you look at it, it's as if, yes, the page is interested to learn in the swordsmanship, or maybe in the arts of intellectual debate and everything, but you can see that he's just beginning. He's still not as expert in wielding the sword, in using his intellect, and there is a certain reticence, not that this firmness of stature. There is sort of like a moving backwards, but he is looking towards the where he is intending to the opponent, like looking at the opponent. Maybe this person is being trained by somebody, and he is looking at the trainer, and he's a little reticent to make a move towards the trainer, because he knows that he's not yet as talented as he would be as a trainer. So there's a certain reticence of using the sword in, against it. No, but yeah, this could be, if you look at it, if this is somebody in your life, it could be somebody in your life who is also quite intelligent and quite talented, but at the same time still have not yet as determined, not yet as firm when it comes to making decisions. He could be somebody who changes his mind in deciding. Like for this one, like here, he at one moment maybe he's looking at the opponent with the intention to attack, but at the same time he is also drawing backwards. So there is no firm resolve. He might decide to do one thing, and at the same time also have a tendency to do another thing that is opposite to what he intended to do. So there's maybe a tendency to change one's mind into doing things. So there is not a firm commitment into certain things. So maybe this is one of the characteristics that you can consider. If this is an aspect in you, then maybe there is this kind of aspect in your personality where uh, you can easily change your mind. You cannot, there is no firmness in resolve, just like the Knight of Swords. No, there's a firmness of resolve. He dashes forward without any fear of what the consequences here. This one is a little reticent. He can easily change his mind if he a tendency. But there is this uh, certain interest of the youth. Since the sword represents intellect, there's a tendency for this person, since there's this youthful quality in the person, maybe he has a tendency to learn a lot of things. No, sometimes they say that the page of swords represents somebody who has a tendency to spy, a tendency to watch on you, watch on somebody in the social media, something like that, tendency to spy. Maybe it's because of the characteristics of the suit of swords, which is more interested in knowing things, and the reticence. Maybe this quality makes one to be a little bit less direct, tendency to approach things in an indirect way, maybe in a secretive way also, in a certain sense. Maybe that is the reason why they relate her to that kind, or relate him to that kind of personality. This one is a male, but there's a sort of like a feminine quality in his features, no? But yeah, he is in the process of learning. So he's still young. He's beginning in the arts. So it could be that if you have this card, maybe you are in the process of learning something new. You might be in a process of having a new intellectual pursuit. Maybe you're about to start a new study. It can be also that somebody will come along who has the quality of the page of swords, who is a little bit not yet committal, has a tendency to be less reliable when it comes to immediate commitment, unlike when he is already in the stage of that of a knight, wherein when he commits something he really rushes through it. This one is a little bit uncommittal, so there's a tendency, maybe when it comes to a loving relationship, there may be a tendency for not committing himself immediately. Maybe he will this person will have a tendency to play around a little bit more, no? to be not as committed, no? But yes, he has this intellectual capacity, and he already has the skill, the native skill, but it still needs to be developed even more, to grow even more. Well, I guess that's what we can reflect on the card for now. Let us go to part 2 of the Page of Swords. Okay, welcome to part 2 of our one card spread series, and our card for today is the Page of Swords. Let us now read from the booklet of the Tarot of A.E. Waite from H.E.M. Urania. Page of Swords. The Swords court cards show the struggle to direct mental energy to productive purpose. The mind can turn negative when it sees every possibility. In general, the court are figures of ever-increasing responsibility, from the mostly carefree pages to the active knights to the ruling queens and kings. This becomes a special problem for the suit of mind, the most unfocused of the elements. The page shows this difficulty of focus by moving forwards while facing backwards, as if, like so many of the numbered swords cards, he cannot let go of the past. At the same time, pages carry the least responsibility of the four courts, and so we see him standing lightly and yet alert as he holds up his sword. As the old expression goes, his head is in the clouds, unconnected to daily life. Maybe he looks back to his last day of freedom before he must become a knight. Divinatory meanings. Wariness, alertness. Looking back to the past while moving forward. Warning, advice. Be careful of trickery or a buildup of tensions. Action. Caution. Look behind you as you move forward. Well, that concludes part 2 of the Page of Swords. Until next time, have a great day.